Now, months into the sting, the Mr. Big sting, Mr. Big finally got confessions from the teens. In 2004, they both received 3 life sentences after being found guilty of the multiple murder of Atif's family. Now, there's just an awful lot to unpack here with many twists and turns. I wanted to hear directly from the men accused. Atif Rafay, he is joining us on the phone today from Monroe Correctional Facility in Washington State. Atif, are you there?
Good morning, Dr. Sell.
Good morning. I'm glad to make your acquaintance, but I'm very sorry for the circumstances. You've been in prison now for more than half of your life, correct?
That's correct.
And tell me, as I'm talking to you today, what's your attitude about this?
I am hopeful. I am grateful. I'm also devastated. I've lost half my life. The people who killed my parents have never been brought to justice. And I've spent the last 20 years trying to get a court to take notice of that. It's been immensely devastating and frustrating, and yet I'm very grateful, and I'm hopeful now that finally all these years of perseverance might matter.
Right, and it's it's easy to lose in the mix of that, coming home and finding your mother, father, and sister bludgeoned to death with a baseball bat, and then on the immediate heels of that, you become a suspect and start getting all of this going on in your life and winding up where you are. Let me ask you straight up for the record, once you left the house to go to dinner, a movie, and to a club, at any time after you left the house, did you return back home and bludgeon your mother, father, and sister to death with a baseball bat?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And there's absolutely no way that we could have even done that, because the murders didn't even happen at a time that it would never have even been possible. That was impossible, and absolutely I would never have done anything like that.
Do you have any knowledge about who did?
Well, we do, because of course the police did, and I only discovered this years later, but of course there was an informant, so we know who did it, or we have a fairly good idea. Those people have never been apprehended, or to my knowledge even investigated.
But you found this out after the fact. You didn't know at the time. You weren't involved with it in any way? You didn't have any involvement with who went over there?
I never even heard of those people at the time.
You didn't cause it to happen? You weren't involved with it happening? You didn't hire anybody to do it? You had nothing to do with it at all?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Daniel, we know now, because there's been an extensive record created on this, and you know it better than anyone, that they had alibi witnesses that put them well away from the crime scene before it happened, such that they wouldn't have had time to get there, commit the crime, and get back to be seen at the next location. We know that they were seen in the lobby of the movie house at the time the neighbors say the crime was actually happening, but yet they've been convicted, and he sits in prison 28 years later. How do you explain that?
The equivalent of the FBI in Canada posing as mobsters had created this situation where they said, you're about to be arrested. If you're arrested, I know I'm the first person that you're gonna flip on. I'm the only person who can help you from being arrested, but you have to tell me what you did first. So they made the seemingly costless choice of, on the one hand, thinking, well, if we say we didn't do it, they're not gonna trust us and they'll kill us, as they've convinced us they've done to people who could flip on them in the past, or we can make up a story and appease them and not be framed for murder.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.